The wild woods, the meandering rivers, the gentle breeze caressing me and you, the frolicking waves and their rhythmic tune, the very earth we walk on, all make up our environment until we interfere and spoil nature's mood. Tara, along with her favorite Charu Chachi, Polly the parrot, and the rest of her family had all travelled to the Sangla Valley in Kinnaur to attend Yontan Mama's daughter's wedding. At the insistence of Yontan Mama, they were going to spend an entire month in this picturesque valley where they would be staying as guests in Yontan Mama's famous hotel, La Shangri-La.
Namaste Yontan Mama. क्या मजा आया कल. Inakshi's wedding was such fun. Look, even Polly had a jolly good time. Inakshi looked such a beautiful bride with all that gold and silver jewelry.
That gold and silver jewelry actually belonged to my great-grandmother. It has been passed on from generation to generation. And now your Choti Mami and I have gifted it to Inakshi, our one and only daughter.
You looked pretty too, Tara, with all those precious stones you were wearing.
I have to thank Ma for those. Those precious stones belong to her.
We also have to thank the earth for these and many more minerals, precious stones and precious metals. After all, man has dug them out from the earth.
You are so right, Charu Chachi. Our earth has the most beautiful rocks. Sometimes, even in these mountains, I come across rocks with pretty colors. Some are shiny with nacre in them.
The nacre is from the shells that got encrusted in these sedimentary rocks. After all, where we stand here today was nothing but sea.
Sachi, then how did the sea disappear and such tall mountains come up, Charu Chachi?
Our earth seems to be gifting us with so many things.
Can you please tell us the story of how a sea became mountains of rocks and so many minerals in them, Charu Chachi? You know, Yontan Mama, my Charu Chachi is like an encyclopedia of information. Polly and I love her stories.
I too would like to hear them.
Well, 40 to 50 million years ago, India was an island by itself closer to Australia. And Europe and Asia were one huge landmass which scientists called Eurasia. But deep down in the earth, tectonic plates are always moving. This movement caused the island of India to move upwards and finally collide into Eurasia.
So, that is how India got joined to Asia?
Even after it joined Asia, India kept pushing northwards, forming folds in the land which rose higher and higher to form these lofty mountains.
Ayyo, did you hear that, Polly?
So my hotel stands on the folded landmass after India collided into Eurasia. No wonder I find seashells encrusted in the rocks sometimes.
Charu Chachi, we were talking earlier about minerals. Can you tell us their story?
Minerals, which are all around us, are the building blocks of rocks. From graphite in your pencils to salt to talc, which is used to make talcum powder. But there are the rarer elements like gold, silver, and diamonds too.
So many varieties of minerals our earth has in store.
Polly, you love to mimic. Now, where was I? Yes. Despite the variety, all these minerals have some common traits. Jaise, each is a solid with a uniform chemical composition. They all occur naturally on Earth and each has a unique crystalline structure.
Are all rocks made of minerals, Charu Chachi?
Good question. Just as your ma makes those delicious dhoklas out of different ingredients, most rocks are made of a few minerals combined in various ways. Granite, for example, is made of quartz and feldspar. A few rocks are made of living things also.
Like fossils?
You are very smart, Tara.
But how are rocks formed, Charu Chachi?
Thanks to all your questions, Tara. I too am getting to learn so many new things from your Charu Chachi.
All rocks on Earth may be divided into three large groups: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic, depending on the way they were produced. When magma, the molten material inside the Earth's core, cools underground, it forms granite.
Did you hear that, Polly?
If this same magma erupts onto the surface and cools rapidly, then it forms basalt and other kinds of volcanic rocks like our Western Ghats. Sedimentary rocks result when layers of waterborne or windborne materials are consolidated into stone. Some sedimentary rocks like sandstone and shale are made of eroded debris of older rocks.
Now I know the Himalayas are mostly sedimentary rocks.
Now, coming to the most interesting part, gems. Apart from a few gems like pearls, corals, and amber, which arise from plants or animals, the majority are all minerals. Diamonds, sapphires, emeralds, and rubies are the royalty of the mineral world.
My history books show pictures of the Rajas and Maharanis of long ago, adorned with all kinds of gems.
These gems are found all over the world, but Africa is the major source of diamonds. The Kimberley mine there is known to have produced 3 tons of diamonds in 42 years.
Wow, I wonder where all these diamonds are now.
Look at Polly moving his head from side to side. I think he is listening to that Himalayan barbet calling.
Haha, Polly, you look like a clown. Do you know, Yuntan Mama, in Palghar we have another barbet, the coppersmith barbet, whose call sounds exactly like a coppersmith hammering a sheet of copper metal. Tuk tuk tuk.
Talking of metals, ever since early man learned to fashion tools and weapons from bits of copper and iron, the search for valuable metals has always been underway.
So, copper too, along with silver, gold, and platinum, can be found in the pure form?
Yes, but more often, metals are found in association with other minerals in deposits inside the earth. These are called ores.
So, people have to devise ways of extracting the metals from their ores.
Bilkul sahi. Did you know? Long ago, very few people knew how to extract aluminium from its ore, bauxite. So, it was the privilege only of the royalty to eat from plates of aluminium, while the people of lesser rank ate from plates of silver and gold, which was available in free form.
क्या बात है?
Ayyo! Did you hear that, Polly? Would you like to eat from a plate of silver?
While Charu Chachi, Yontan Mama, and Tara, with Polly on her shoulder, were wandering on the mountain, Polly flew out of sight. While they searched for Polly, they came upon a small wheel with wooden blades rotating by the force of a gushing stream. Where is Polly? He has flown out of sight.
Polly! Oh, there you are, drinking water from that stream. But what is that strange looking rotating wheel?
Oh, that! It is a water mill. The energy of the flowing stream helps to rotate that wooden wheel, and that in turn rotates a stone wheel which is inside that stone walled shelter.
And how does that rotating stone wheel help?
It helps to grind the buckwheat that people grow in their fields into flour.
A fine example of energy transfer. In a similar manner, there is energy transfer taking place all the time among the living organisms in an ecosystem.
I know, like in a food chain, isn't it? The starting point of all food chains is the sun's energy, which is used by plants or autotrophs to make their own food.
Right, you had learnt all about it in school. But we can consider the energy transfer from one trophic level to the next trophic level in the form of an energy pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is always plants or producers. The top of the pyramid represents the apex predators. As we go up the pyramid from one level to another, there is a 10% drop in the amount of energy.
How?
Not all the organisms in each level are consumed by the organisms of the next level. Some may die and get decomposed. Also, some energy is dissipated at each level in the form of heat loss.
But what about the energy in the organisms that die at each level, Charu Chachi?
I was coming to that. They get decomposed by detrivores like bacteria, fungi, millipedes who use up the little amount of energy in the tissues and other organic matter that has not been consumed by those higher in the pyramid. In doing so, they recycle the nutrients back into the soil, contributing greatly to the carbon and nitrogen cycle.
Yontan Mama, Charu Chachi loves to quiz me. I am sure she is now going to ask me to think of an energy pyramid.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yes, tell us about your own imagined ecological pyramid, Tara. Look, even Polly is interested.
Grasshoppers eat grass for their energy. The grasshoppers in turn give their energy to frogs in the next level up pyramid while being eaten by them. Snakes in the next level of the pyramid get their energy by eating frogs. Snakes get eaten by eagles, so they pass on their energy to the topmost part of the pyramid, as eagles occupy the apex and do not usually have predators.
Shabash! Now I am getting to learn about pyramids. Not the ones in Egypt, the ecological pyramids.
There is yet another eco-pyramid that can explain bioaccumulation of pollutants. But this pyramid is upside down. I can see the puzzled looks on both your faces. Let me explain. What happens when chemical pollutants may be discarded into the sea?
They may get absorbed by the sea grass.
Sahi. And who eats the seagrass? Turtles and small fish. The pollutant enters their body and gets stored in their fat. The turtles in turn may be eaten by larger fish like sharks and tuna.
And people eat tuna.
Exactly. By the time people eat the tuna, it may have a lot of bioaccumulated toxins in it.
Charu Chachi, you mentioned earlier the carbon and nitrogen cycle. What kind of cycles are those? Two-wheelers?
मजाक कर रही हो क्या? They are the biogeochemical cycles. Just like energy moves about in an ecosystem, so do some elements, carbon being the most important. You find carbon everywhere, inside our bodies, in our DNA, in our cell membranes. You find it in the foods we eat, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, in the fuels we burn, in the air as carbon dioxide. That is because it is being continuously cycled.
Seems like a very complicated cycle.
I too find it so.
Let us begin with the carbon dioxide in the air. Who needs this gas?
Plants, of course, to make their own food, carbohydrates, and plants are eaten by consumers to the carbon passes into their bodies.
Some plants that are not eaten may die and get buried without getting decomposed deep inside the earth for many years.
I know, they turn into petrol and oil fuels, which we extract from the earth and burn again, releasing carbon dioxide into the air.
Shabash! Fossils and fossil fuels are also produced from the animals that had consumed plants and died but did not get decomposed. How else is carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere?
Through respiration of all living organisms. I beat you to it, Tara.
Ha ha! What about plants and animals that die and get decomposed? Carbon dioxide gets released back into the atmosphere through their decomposition. I scored over you now, Yuntan Mama. Yoo-hoo! Polly too is getting excited. This is fun, just like a game. Let's move on to the nitrogen cycle.
Let's begin. Where is nitrogen most abundantly found?
In the atmosphere, 78% of air is nitrogen. Masterji had told us. But this nitrogen, we were told, is inert.
True. And why is nitrogen so important to all living beings?
Your turn, Yuntan Mama.
Is it needed to build proteins in the body?
Correct. Both of you have scored evenly. So, how do plants and animals get this nitrogen from the air if it is inert?
Nahi malum. Polly, you are supposed to help me. You tell us, Chachi ji.
By a process called nitrogen fixation. Lightning can make the inert nitrogen combine with oxygen and turn it into nitrous oxide or nitrogen dioxide gases. These gases dissolve in rainwater and form nitrous or nitric acids. The acids then combine with minerals in the soil to form nitrate compounds, which can easily be absorbed by plant roots.
What happens when there is no lightning?
Aha! There is also another method of this fixation. Certain bacteria living in the roots of plants can make the nitrogen in the soil into ammonium compounds or nitrites or nitrates.
2 weeks back, there was a terrible lightning storm here. I am sure a lot of nitrogen must have got fixed, benefiting the plants.
And thanks to the nitrogen fixing bacteria, plants are able to make proteins for themselves, and then animals that eat them to get those proteins. But to be a cycle, that nitrogen has to be returned to the air, na?
Aha! Coming to that. When plants and animals die, what happens to their dead bodies?
The decomposing bacteria, do they break down the proteins into simpler nitrogen compounds?
Bilkul sahi. And there are other bacteria, the denitrifying bacteria, that convert nitrate and ammonium compounds into free nitrogen.
Not only does the nitrogen go around in a cycle, even my head has begun to go round and round after listening to all this.
Haha! That is the Yuntan Mama cycle. After discussing all this, I would like to be on the active front to protect our environment. After all, it is the environment that serves our needs like food, water, air to breathe, medicines, shelter, fuel, even gems and jewelry. The list goes on and on.
You hit the nail on the head, Tara. Bilkul sahi baat. The environment provides us with innumerable services. You can perhaps practice citizen science.
What's that?
Citizen science is the practice of public participation in scientific research to increase scientific knowledge. Through citizen science, people share and contribute to data monitoring and collection programs. You can gather your school friends and work on scientific projects to collect data and then share it with the concerned authorities.
That sounds so interesting. I am going to jot down which citizen science projects I shall be participating in. Once I return to Mumbai, I will get all my school friends to join me.
And so, Tara decides to participate in several citizen science projects. The bug bloggers, who take pictures of unusual insects in different habitats and try identifying them. The participants write blogs about them and share on social media to spread awareness. Bird Migration Watchers Group, who study the migratory patterns of various birds that pass by their locality. This information is documented and shared with bird watchers all over the world to get a better understanding of the habits of birds, their needs, and the habitats they dwell in. Water purity detectives, who take samples of water from different water bodies in their locality, such as ponds, lakes, streams, rivers, and oceans. They check for any obnoxious smells or discolorations in the samples, whether there are mosquito larvae in them, other insects, tadpoles, whether the water is acidic or basic or neutral. The documented data is sent to the municipality from time to time. The authorities, if need be, take steps to purify the water bodies. Is our environment clean and pure, or is it full of plastic galore? Is our earth healthy and smiling, or is it wounded? Is it hurting? Are the forests lush and green, or have they chopped off all the trees? Do we breathe air pure and clean, or is it grey, smoggy, and dusty? The earth is hurting. It needs to heal. Time to act. Don't be complacent. Time to give our earth a better deal.